if you don't start with brand building in mind when you start selling on Amazon, you don't have a path for yourself to exit in the future, and essentially you don't know what you're doing. And if you're still on white labeling, retail arbitrage, if you're on those strategy in 2024, you are deemed to fail, and that's why you want to focus on branding.
All right, I'm your host, Ben, and welcome back to another episode of Season 2 of the Amazon Strategist Show, the show that's all strategy with no hacks, no silver bullets, and no magic pills. Just real practical strategy for serious Amazon sellers. All right, I just wrapped up an awesome episode with Dylan Lam. Today we talked a lot about crowdfunding and how you as an Amazon seller can use this to launch either your first or your second, third, fourth, any product along the way and capitalize on a ton of amazing benefits. So I know you're going to enjoy this episode. Let's dive right in. Today, we've got the pleasure of being joined by the incredible Dylan Lam, who's the CEO of various Amazon brands. He's also the mastermind behind OmniRank, which is a digital marketing agency that helps e-commerce and Amazon sellers succeed online. Dylan's got years of experience in this industry, and he and his team specialize in SEO, PPC, social media, and email campaigns, all of which are aimed at delivering data-driven results and exceptional customer service. So Dylan, welcome to the Amazon Strategist Show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. I'm so excited to be on the show. Thank you, Ben, for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much. So right before the show started, I was just commenting that you have a much more professional setup than I do, and I could just tell because of the things that are in your background. So I'm curious, do you do photography as well, or is this part of your business? I don't know if it's part of the product launch stuff that you guys do, or tell me what's going on with your background.
I'm actually just creating an SOP for a team right now. There's several SOP that I need to create it. That's why I have those stuff behind me. Yeah.
Well, you must create very professional SOPs then with the setup that you've got. Yeah. I love that.
I got that light from Amex, and those like the point, you can redeem those from the point, and I got a light instead of a travel ticket because I can't go to China.
Well, that works out well then. I love it. So Dylan, I guess kind of how I like to start these shows are just asking our guests if they can kind of take us back to the start of their Amazon or e-commerce journey. So I was wondering if you could do that and actually tell us how you got into this whole industry and this whole space.
Oh yeah. So I get into e-commerce like back in 2014. Like I was first started on eBay, trying to ship stuff by myself. Essentially, retail arbitrage that I was doing. I was trying to bring over electronic components from Hong Kong, and then I bring it back to UK, and it started eBay, and then I was like shipping 10 a day, 20 a days to like 30 a days. I cannot do it by myself anymore. So I was like, no, there's so much stuff that I have to do. Like I literally got all the packing, and then I have 2 bags with me. I was riding a Segway into the post office, and I was trying to label the things on the floor one by one. So that was how I started e-commerce. That was back in the time when I was doing university.
Those are your grinding days. You rode a Segway into the post office?
Yeah, it's called like a one wheel.
Oh yeah.
It's like a one wheel that you can just like go to the post office, like what 5-minute or 10-minute trip away. But it would take me like.
While you're balancing all these packages, I'm imagining you with one on your head and like both your arms holding as much as possible.
Yeah. E-commerce is about fun, right? That's what that part of the fun that I had in the past. And then I was like, okay, that was a time that was like, sorry, I think I mentioned 2015, but I think I went into e-commerce in 2012. And then I started FBA on 2015 because that was just so good to be true. Like I don't even have to ship to my student accommodation that time. Like there was I was living on the 3rd floor. I was trying to have a pallet shipping into the lift, and then the reception saying that you can't do that anymore because there's so much stuff, And then the whole corridor was like I was laying down. I was trying to put in all the label one by one, right? So while my friends all playing computer games. That's how I got started, And then things got just snowball down. The whole thing, we went from just 10K to 6 figures to 7 figures. That was just within 5 years. I literally ride the wave during the time, the golden age, which is now still the golden age, just a different method to sell on Amazon right now. So yeah.
So you initially started with eBay and retail arbitrage. Is that what ultimately took you to scaling to 6 and 7 figures? Was it retail arbitrage except on Amazon, or did you switch over to more and more private label as you went?
Yeah, I started as in retail arbitrage on eBay, and then during that time, take it as like a research phrase, as in like I realized, oh my God, I sell like 10 things and then or 100 things, and then there's two things that is selling so well. And then I started going to like Alibaba to white label stuff, and then started to bring them to Amazon FBA, and then different color, different variation, and then invent your own mode as well, have like tooling as well. Like down the path, like I turn it into private label. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's actually a really cool idea too, because it's like you're getting paid to do research rather than like you having to pay for software and then just spend all this time researching, never order your product, or you by the time you actually decide on a product, it's now too late, it's saturated or something like that. Instead, you were like, hey, I'm going to make money while I get the data and that collect that information for myself, and then use that to go and buy. Now I have the money to actually go get the products, from my manufacturer and all that stuff. So that's actually really cool. I haven't thought about that before. So now take us to kind of where you're at today. So what is your kind of main focus, and what does your team, I know I kind of read through your bio, but can you give us kind of a breakdown of what you guys specialize in?
Sure. Okay. So what we do right now is like because selling on Amazon right now require a lot of like research. It's not just about a simple product research by using data dive or helium 10. It's not like just jungle scout kind of era. I mean, right now doing selling on Amazon rather is all about building brand, right? So we utilize crowdfunding as a marketing method, rather than saying crowdfunding is there to crowdfund for money, but then we are there to create media. So we aim to make as much as revenue to turn the brand into a recognizable brand, trying to become a FMCG brand. So you get more backers to back your brand, and then you got the email list, and then whenever you launch a product next on Amazon, then you already got the asset that you can launch with them, and then you can scale much faster than just trying to snap a label and put it on Amazon that you might fail. Because what we are trying to do is we try to validate the product, develop the product, and then validate the product 3 times. Right, the first time we do just the normal kind of like research with keyword gap. Second one is like we see if there's demand in the market on social media by running kind of like back in the old days, like job shipping type of ads, like it's like EPC ad, as in like you try to have a lot of like product on the internet, and then you see which one gave you the best engagement, which you give you the lead, and then you was like, okay, so if you can sell on Amazon, you can sell on Facebook, that you can eventually drive external traffics and then internal traffic as well. So that guarantees you that you can outweigh your competitors in the future. And then the first validation there was we'll launch it on crowdfunding, because eventually, like if you can launch it in Kickstarter or Indiegogo, then it tells you that there is a big demand out there, no whether it's just a small feature that have enough differentiation to get you into let's say 1,000 backers, or just even like 500 backers. You already have your MOQ met, and you don't have to be like a very cash flow intensive like Amazon, that you have to buy 3 months worth of inventory and then put it into Amazon that you might still fail. So that's what we do right now. We have clients to develop a plan to validate the whole thing.
So crowdfunding has always been a really interesting topic to me selfishly, because one, I've never actually done it. I've been close to trying it out a few times, but I mean, it's extremely appealing, right? Because of at least the two big ones I'm going to say are the things you just noted, right? Which is that you get the validation of your product ahead of time, and you get capital ahead of time. And correct me if I'm wrong on either of those, but I know there's a ton of other benefits. So I'm curious, can you kind of lay out like what are the benefits to me as a either a new or repeat Amazon seller? Like maybe I already have a couple of existing products on Amazon, and we all know that, launching a product is challenging, and there's certainly levers that you can pull. And if you're experienced, like that does help, but still, like as it gets more and more competitive, like this could be a more effective strategy these days for some people, even if they're already experienced and have a big brand on Amazon, but for subsequent launches, or if they're just getting started. So sorry to rein that back in. Can you kind of break down like what are the benefits to an Amazon seller from doing this strategy in terms of launching?
Sure. So that's the thing. Like, the benefit is just so profound when it comes to launching a campaign on platform, because we treat it as in a marketing, but at the same time, it improves your cash flow as well. and then the risk that you're on right now. So the first biggest thing that, of course, launching on the Kickstarter is because you don't have to pay for inventory, which is the most expensive part, which is like around like 30% of the thing of the whole product. So it improves the cash flow. You only buy the inventory once you have collected the fund from the backers, right? You only have to do the marketing. And then so it turns out that you don't have to invest 3 months in advance for all the inventory, and you can still wait until, let's say, 6 months later after the campaign finish. You can use the reason as in like we are still developing the product. That's why you have to wait for 6 months in order for us to ship you the product, right? So
Gotcha.
that improves your cash flow essentially. But that's another tactic, of course. Normally, it's like we will ship the product in Amazon immediately after the campaign has finished. So that's the first benefit. Second benefit is, well, we mentioned about the inventory, right? So I'm just going to skip that because you don't have to hold any inventory. But then the biggest thing that I would say for Amazon seller is like we really diversify the risk. We, instead of putting all the egg in one basket, a lot of sellers that I worked with in the past, they're trying to get away from Amazon, but they're not quite successful because there's just so much stake in hand, right? They have so much revenue there, and then if they want to pivot out of the Amazon, it turns out like people are just shopping on Amazon, but not their brand, but not like on the website. It's just hard for them to pivot to outside of Amazon. And once they get suspended, or if their listing got taken down, or if there's like black activity from competitors, like maybe just a infringement claim, right? And then the whole business cash flow was gonna be went into a spiral in all of a sudden, right? Because there's no revenue coming in. So it helps you to diversify the risk because you have the email list that you have, and then people know you that is not Amazon specific audiences. You can make sure that your brand, the product that you are launching are able to attract sales, drive traffic from Facebook, social media, TikTok, right? Because it's kind of like a interactive marketing. So essentially, it helps you diversify the whole thing. And also, you're like building a lot of intangible asset. Because imagine if you launch it on Amazon, there's a lot of things that you might not have yet. As in like you don't have press release, you don't have influencer marketing video, you don't have like a proper listing video, you don't have all the creative asset, you don't have all the pay and earn media asset, right? And then you didn't work with affiliate marketer, as in like because if you're running crowdfunding campaign, you have to work with affiliate marketer to get them the bloggers, the YouTuber, to get them into the campaign to help you
right.
boost the traffic for the AI sake as well, for the algorithm sake as well, right? So that's the intangible asset that we are getting before you go on to Amazon, right? You already have all those things instead of like going to Amazon
That's
and
cool.
then some things like one thing at a time. It might not work out the best, and you might fail the product as well. So it's being verified, and then you get all the assets as well. You can retarget people as well from the email list that you generate during the pre-launch and during the after launch as well. You can retarget those people, bring them back to Amazon, or maybe use it as a lookalike audience to go back to Shopify, etc. And also you're building goodwill essentially because this is the brand building. There are a lot of like sellers come to us because I always ask them a question as in, does your customer know where did they buy from? Would they say your brand name, or would they say I buy from Amazon? Right? Because Amazon, because
That's a good question.
Yeah, consumer always think like I got a mouse from Logitech, right? They have a big name, that's why I can name Logitech. But if you call,
I think I have the exact same one. No, I have a very similar one though. That's funny.
Yeah, but if they call like Ninja, right? Who else will remember you?
Right.
No one.
Yeah.
I got it from Amazon. That's why.
Yeah.
Right. So that is how launching a Kickstarter campaign can help. There's so much more things I can talk about. You want me to go for it? We'll go for that.
Well, yeah, I've got some follow-up questions. I think, and some of these are just, again, maybe a little nitpicky ones just because I haven't ever gone through this myself. So, and hopefully that's going to be a lot of the people that are, watching this. So they're maybe just hearing about this for the first time, or maybe have heard about crowdfunding, but didn't know it's applicable to an Amazon launch, et cetera. But so, I mean, just one is just on a basic level is, do you have a preferred platform, Kickstarter or Indiegogo? And I don't know if there's others. And I guess my second question is like, can you launch on more than one crowdfunding platform at the same time, or do you normally advise people just to do one?
So it depends on your product. So the normal path is like you go on to Kickstarter first, and then you go on to Indiegogo in demand afterward. But some of the product, like electric product, they sells better on Indiegogo. Some
Interesting. Okay.
of the household product, they sells better on Kickstarter. So it really depends on like what type of product they're selling. Then I can advise you where to go. But those are the general two platforms that you will go for when you're trying to launch, to build a brand, as in using crowdfunding as in marketing.
Gotcha. And so it's not like you would launch on both at the same time. They actually both serve slightly different markets or purposes.
Yeah, interesting, right? The thing is like what we see is when we use the lookalike audience from Kickstarter, it doesn't really appear to Indigo lookalike audience. I mean, they are so different, as in like the way that they interact with the platform because they really build a community behind them, and that's why if you use the word crowdfunding, it turns out like we have to run e-commerce ad style to Indiegogo, but if you are running on Kickstarter, the targeting that we use is crowdfunding. So that's what we use.
That's interesting. And then, so the other thing I think that I think you already alluded to the answer here, but I'm going to ask it anyways. When you run these campaigns, you as the person running the campaign, you get to keep the emails and the information that people who sign up to get notifications or that actually back your product. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's a major benefit then, right? Because you can take that list in both one with your current launch, you can obviously use that, but then subsequent launches, I'm assuming, is that part of your strategy? Is that when you go launch your second, third, fourth product, do you then go and re-engage that audience?
Yeah. The more campaign you've launched, the product you have launched, the easier that it's gonna be for your brand in the future. Um, One of the added benefit by using those platforms is because you are increasing the touch point when you send an email. By that, I don't mean by just using an email, because the platform itself, they're sending email. Yourself is sending email as well. By just talk about, we're not talking about those like maybe quiz or funnels. We just talk about the email part. If you send an email, you have to deal with the SFP, DKIM, which is you need to do that anyway, right? But then sometimes you might have a bad reputation. You might go to promotional inbox. That might be a problem. But whereas like those platforms, like Indiegogo and Kickstarter, they have already have a lot of transactional email, and that's why they're not being flagged and put in the promotional email, right? So
Yeah.
say if you're good enough, if you're able to have your DKIM SFP to be clean enough to be able to go into the good inbox, then you get one touch point. You get a second touch point when you are sending an update from the platform itself. So the platform itself, like there's a lot of like small detail that can help you increase the touch point, where sometimes you just cannot reach them after you have done the pre-launch or the first touch point, right? So if you are trying to say to launch on Shopify, you don't get those, and those are the benefits.
Gotcha. Oh, it's cool. So I guess another question is, are there certain types of products that this does work really well with? And then are there products that this does not work as well with, or that just should not be considered an option?
Yeah. I would say rather than saying there's certain type of product, I would just give an example, as in like there was a brand called Misen. Misen. Okay. So Misen, they sell a oven tray. So it's a modular oven tray, right? So they turned that product. It was quite innovative back in a few years ago, and then they were like putting it into the oven, like, and then it's a modular bowl instead of just one big tray. That was the problem that they're solving. And then they generate a few, I think 1.5 million, right? Amazing. Just a cookware, just a lot of silicone tray, and then you got 1.5 million, right? So I'm not trying to emphasize about the 1.5 million because I want to emphasize what's next after. What's next is there's a competitors who saw Misen, who's selling those tray, and then just thought of like, oh my God, I mean, it's very uncomfortable. It's very hard to pick up the tray. So they added a handle next to those tray. Each of the modular tray, they added a little handle with a hole so you can pick up easily. That they generated 100K. So it's all about whether or not if your product can really solve a problem, rather than saying if your product can be on Kickstarter. If there's a problem that you're solving, then that is already a new thing that you can launch it on Kickstarter. No matter how small is revenue, you are still building the brand. If you are just saying that you target 550K, 30K, you are still building intangible asset along the way when you're trying to do a marketing on during the whole process, and then eventually it would just come back to your brand on the second launch, third launch, all those things.
Yeah. But yeah, and just to, I guess, reiterate that point, I guess the one thing that wouldn't work, and you just called this out, it has to obviously solve some kind of problem. It's not like you can go and be successful if you are like, hey, I just want to launch my version of a garlic press in this new color. But there's nothing new about it other than that it's your brand, right? Because that's not going to have the same novelty to the audience, at least this is my impression, and do well on the platform. It would have to legitimately have some kind of innovative component. Is that accurate? Or maybe I'm wrong.
That is, you're not wrong, but in the same time, like we have different way to tackle that. And I'm going to tell you one example, as in there's two examples that I can think of right now. There's one example is literally that they didn't change anything. It's actually the product that they were trying to do. But I'm just gonna try to organize my way to tell the example. So there is a cup. It's just like a normal cup. You can imagine for whiskey. Okay, for whiskey. So they put insulation inside, as in like double glass inside, and then they were able to generate. I think it's 250K. How do they do that? They were using storytelling. So they used to have brand by themselves. I think I don't know whether or not they have a big brand, but then to me, that cup is just a normal cup, like just a double glass cup glasses that they put it on Kickstarter and then got 250K by using storytelling. And that example is like a oven stone. Right now, it's not oven tray, it's oven stone. So the stone that you can put it into the oven, and then to make your pizza heated evenly, rather than just put it in a steel tray that might affect the temperature, and it will aim to help you to heat up the thing faster, right? So back in 2010, there was a oven stone live on Kickstarter already, and then back in 2019, there's another competitors just come in, change nothing, and then to just provide a better story, and then it get around almost, I think it's 170K that time, for just by storytelling.
Yeah, improving the story. Yeah, well, or creating the story if it was non-existent before. So storytelling is a huge component of this. You have to, and that's kind of an interesting part too. What if you don't have the product created yet? How are you getting a sample and that's what you're using, or are you using just like, mock-ups or renderings of the product before you actually have the product in order to then go tell the story? Or how's that piece actually work?
We use 3D printing, using rapid prototyping to try to print a product and work with a manufacturer to get you the samples, and then we'll just start shooting videos, and then use branded, let's say, use brand essence to provide the storytelling. That's what we do. So it's either like you can have one feature to have enough, just like that tray, handle of the tray, to enough to differentiate yourself, or you can use storytelling, or maybe during the COVID time, you're having a UVC cap. So because everyone wants to sterilize the germs, bacteria at that time, so you put a UVC LED light under the cap, and then just a snap and normal bottle, right? And that become a product. So it's all about the right timing. If you do it right now, I doubt they can get 500K at that time.
Are there tools that help with knowing that, by the way? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I'm just thinking like, is there, with Amazon, we've got Jungle Scout and Helium 10 and now hundreds of other tools out there, but do these platforms have similar stuff, or is it more just based on experience with selling on there or going and doing these crowdfunding things?
That's the beautiful things that I can share about. In the past, you only have like, you can do as much things as like data dive, keyword gap, or all those like Google Trend things, right? Or not, or even you can go to TikTok Creator Marketplace, or maybe Facebook transparency to spy on people. But right now we have AI. You can essentially just pull the reviews from the internet. Let's say we're talking about a cable, right? The charging cable. Just pull the cable from the internet, look and then ask ChatGPT to analyze the problem, look at the benefit and good things, and suggest me with a new type of product. And then you can sort it out as in like, oh, okay, this good, and then you can ask them again to refine the whole process again, and then to give you a better choice again. So that gives you the initial idea on what you can do to just maybe add one more feature to enough to differentiate yourself, right? It's all about like connecting the dot normally with AI, with the ability to connect the dot, and that you can come up with a new product. Or maybe you can just including the storytelling inside the product, and then that would be a new product, a new angle. As in like lately I was working with a client that they want to sell a modular bed. Okay, so modular bed is already out in the market already, but then AI suggested him that instead of selling modular bed, he can sell modular mattress topper. Right, that is just completely. I was like, oh my god, you just like decrease the thickness, it become a topper, and then this not existing market yet right now. So that's what we are working on right now, and
that's awesome.
We're almost live on Kickstarter. So I just want to share one more example, as in like there was one product that I was so appreciate I think lately, as in like the Ringo bottle. Okay, the Ringo bottle is actually another bottle, right? And now it's just a bottle, and then like they put a MagSafe on it. So while you're in gym, you can lift up the MagSafe, and then you can just snap your phone on it, and then you can use it yourself, right? So that's the MagSafe bottle. So imagine as a bottle, you start with just a normal bottle, to a plastic, to material, to maybe a bottle with a straw, with a cap, and then tea infuser bottle, right? The way that they progress because of technological advancement, right? Because people love tea, because because the consumer is changing the behavior. We are promoting healthy. That's why they have this lemon infuser, kind of like bottle, and then you got like the people wants nuts or peanuts inside the bottle. They got a container under the bottle, and then right now people love social media, so they always like view themselves, and that's why they put a MagSafe on a bottle, and you can film yourself. Right? It's all about connecting.
Is there a bottle that has all three of those? Is there one that has the infuser, the film thing, and the container for your snacks?
There you go.
That's the next one.
There you go. That's the next one. And I was thinking as well. I haven't seen a AirTag bottle right now, right? So it's just like to find yourself, AirTag everywhere.
Yeah.
So the latest one I can see is always like it's like NFC. You put NFC anywhere, become a smart things. You can put AirTag anywhere, or you can put MagSafe anywhere, to become a new product. It's about looking at what's the latest trend, and then connect a dot, and then come up with a new product that others haven't think of yet. So it's actually not that hard, actually.
There's always funny, like I talk to a lot of Amazon sellers, and I won't say any specific products either, because, sometimes people are very cagey about their product types, but it's always really fun to like meet people that have these crazy, or at least they seem crazy to me sometimes and to everyone, these product ideas that I've never heard of before. I'm thinking of one specific one right now, though, it's in the pets category. And when this client told me about it, I was like, I have never in my life thought about that. And I never thought that product you've just told me, there was even a pain point for that. And now that I know about it, I'm like, my mind was blown away. And it's like, then it's one of those things where you can't stop seeing it. And anyway, I know I'm just kind of teasing everyone because I can't say more than that. But yeah, I don't know.
Oh, you remind me of a campaign that I used to like I was like mind blown as well in the past. It's the paper toy for cat. Okay, so there is already something that exists already. So it's just like a toy a maze, like you say a horizontal one. You place it on the floor, and then it's like a maze inside. So the cat would just go in and play with the ball, right? Mm-hmm. And you know what they add? They just add music, and then make it like vibrate, make it vibrate, and then become a new toy. And then it sells for $1 million on Kickstarter. Like how is that
Okay.
even possible? Like it's so, the thing is just so cheap, as in like it's paper, it's just made of paper, right? And
Yeah.
then the cost of producing that is so cheap, and then I guess they built a community in the past. That's why they have a huge cat community, and then just make it music and then movable, and then that became a new toy. Oh my god!
I love it. That's cool. Thanks for sharing that. So, Dylan,
Yeah.
I want to transition into kind of our next part of the show and ask you my normal question I ask every one of our guests. But do you think that pineapple belongs on pizza?
Oh, as an Italian, I have an Italian friend that say that. Okay, they use antichoke and things like on pizza, but they hate pineapple. But I love it. I'm so sorry. I love.
I'm also a fan of the Hawaiian pizza, but
Yeah.
yeah, I was just joking on our last podcast recording. We've had, I think, two or three Italians on the show so far, and every single one of them is like, like that. It is just evil if I have to say, like, I don't even want to answer that question or even hear it because it's just the worst thing on planet Earth to hear about pineapple going on pizza. First, I think it's amazing. But anyway, so I just like to hear what everyone says. And the reason I'm asking Dylan is because this is our controversial take section of the show. So I like to ask every one of our guests, what's one of the kind of, most controversial topics that maybe, or things that you believe in, that maybe other people in the industry either don't believe in or just haven't come to also find, or I don't know, align with. Where do you zig when other people zag?
Right. Definitely about brand building. Why? Why is it brand building? I work with a lot of Chinese seller. A lot of things that, like as in foreigner, that might not quite understand is that a lot of seller there to make money. In China, there's a lot of money laundry that they need to cash out. The best way for them is to go on to e-commerce, right? Because maybe middleman will charge them for 50% off. You know, you want to get away with 1 million, they will just pay you 500K only. But for Amazon, for them, if they can get away with just 30% or 20% off, they're happy, right? So that's one thing. And then there's a lot of government subsidies from different market, right? At least not that I know of, like in UK or US, there's any. But in China, there's a lot of people that is getting government subsidies to launch a Amazon brand. And for that reason, if you have to battle with them, with the capitalism, right? I mean, you won't be having enough like capital to battle with them. Let's say
Right.
who has the highest speed on Amazon PPC, right? So without building a brand, you are deemed to fail. There's a lot of unseen money that you cannot see in the market, what they're doing. Why can a screen protector can sell for 0.1 US dollar or just even 1 US dollar, right? Are they there to just do brand building? Are they there to just capture the market share? Or are they there to do the money laundering? I mean, no one knows, right? So if you don't start with brand building in mind when you start selling on Amazon, you don't have a path for yourself to exit in the future, and essentially you don't know what you're doing. And if you're still on white labeling, retail arbitrage, or maybe I don't know if you heard of like in the past there's a thing called bulk, just literally put everything on Amazon in bulk, and then hopefully one will turn to be good, right? If you're on those strategy in 2024, you are deemed to fail, and that's why you want to focus on branding.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like at the end of it, it's Nike, the whole Nike shoe thing. Like, I mean, I know so many case studies around that, right? Like, you can buy a shoe that's just as good as a Nike shoe for probably a tenth of the price. But why do you buy the Nike shoe? It's in large part because of the brand, and that's the differentiator at the end of the day. Otherwise, it's a race to the bottom if you're not building up the brand. So, no, that's awesome. Thanks so much for sharing that. So, Dylan, we've kind of reached the end of the show, and I just wanted to first off say thank you so much for coming on today. It's always fun to have people like yourself on who are so knowledgeable, and especially about kind of this crowdfunding thing, because, especially with our audience being primarily Amazon sellers, we oftentimes, this isn't something that we normally go to first or for subsequent product launches. And so I think now, as things have become more and more competitive, this really is a good way to potentially launch your first or your second, third, fourth, fifth product. And there's, as you said, so many benefits to it. So Before we end the show, I do want to turn it around to you and give you the stage again to kind of, say where people can find you and any kind of parting words. So I'm going to do that right now.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on the show, Ben. So if you guys want to find me, you can go to LinkedIn, Digital Dylan Official. So just come say hi to me, and then I have a checklist for you guys that you can see whether or not if you are suitable to sell on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, and then what is the timeline looks like, and essentially give you the time. We give you the step-by-step guide on how you can do it by yourself as well. So
Love that.
Please say hi to me. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. And for anyone watching or listening, we'll put that down below in the show notes or in the YouTube description if you're watching on there as well. So you can reach out to Dylan pretty easily. So that's going to bring us to the end of this episode. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. And thank you to our wonderful guest, Dylan. We're going to have him back real soon. But with that being said, we're going to come to a close here. And we'll see you guys all at the next episode. Thanks again, Dylan.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that's going to bring us to the end of another awesome episode. Thanks to our wonderful guest, Dylan Lam. As always, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Amazon Strategist Show. If you did find some kind of value in today's discussion, we kindly request that you rate and review this podcast on your favorite podcast player, or if you're on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Let us know. It does help us a ton with reaching new e-commerce enthusiasts just like yourself. Also, don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. You're going to get updates, behind the scenes content, and a lot more there as well. And you can find the links to that and everything else down below in the show notes or the description, depending on where you're watching or listening to this episode. So that is it for today. Be sure to mark your calendars and join us again next week for another awesome interview. We have lots more guests lined up, so make sure you stay tuned. Until then, I'm your host, Ben Smith, signing off and wishing you happy selling.